there's like a few different things that I wanted to kind of go through. Obviously, there's like that viral video that was circling around the internet in the past few days there of George Floyd, the man who was killed in Minneapolis, black man who was killed in Minneapolis there by 4 police officers. It was really one police officer, I believe, because there's a viral video that's been circulating, and you can see the one officer with his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, and you can see he's like just on top of it. It's like worse than a UFC move, and even John Jones was tweeting about that. He's like, that's worse than any torture, anyone can go through. I've never, all the years fighting, I've never had anyone, put me through anything like that, like how he passed away and what he went through in his last moments, and it's disgusting to see. It's like what is going on in the world, man? What? Not even the world, in the United States. What are we doing, man? Like, this shit cannot continue on. Like, I don't know how this stuff just happens like this. Like, it is just. It doesn't even just. Stuff like this doesn't just happen. I think that's the. That's like the kind of the big misconception. You just look at if you look at comments, and I don't like to do that. Obviously, it's just kind of like a cesspool at this point. It's just not. It's not. It's kind of almost. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you see you obviously see everyone's opinions, but then you just see like disgusting comments, and then people trying to justify. Well, we don't know what happened, what the scenario was. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter what the scenario was. You know what I mean? No one needs to go out like that. You can't just get up off the fucking dude. Like, after a while, man, what are we doing? He's just, even people sitting there filming, and the Asian cops just sitting there kind of like looking around, like, and everyone's like, the guy filming it, the crowd, because it kind of started, it looked like it was gathering a crowd, really, outside of that, I'm not really sure what it was, a convenience store or like that whole area. I saw kind of, because once kind of the incident happened, there was obviously a huge crowd that gathered, at the site of the incident, and, it was a massive crowd, and you can just, some of the reaction, obviously, from the Minneapolis police is terrible. I mean, obviously, you kind of don't know what threat they might feel is coming towards them, especially because the crowd did look massive. But just seeing those videos, where they're shooting like the rubber pellets there or whatever, and the tear gas, and especially because you see some of the people who are being, it's like some of them are just kind of people that almost look like they're just not walking by, but just kind of bystanders, where they're just kind of like checking out what's the commotion. Next thing you know, they're all all over the place, almost on the ground, rolling around because they have the tear gas in their eyes. And I just don't understand how that's a civil way to go about it. It seems obviously like the cops are more aggressive than the protesters. They're not even rioters. They're not looting or anything like that. They're protesting an unjust crime. That's a crime, obviously. That's murder right there. I mean, in plain daylight on video, And this isn't obviously the first time we've seen this happen. It's clearly targeting or something. Like, it's almost more than targeting, It's like, beyond racial profiling. It's more than that. I mean, it's case by case and everything, but, at a certain point, you gotta start asking more questions. And is it systemic? Obviously, there's so many good cops out there, but these things happen more and more throughout the years, and then you see some people try to say that, oh, well, more white people are killed by cops than black people, but it just doesn't seem like it's obviously disproportionate. If you look at I believe the population of white people in the United States, I guess, Caucasian people in the United States is like 70+%, like 72 to 75 or something like that percent. And then I think, for African Americans or black people, it's 13%, something like that, 10 to 13%. So, and then you look at the numbers, sure, it might be like a little over 300, white people are killed by cops than blacks. But black people are still killed by over like 200, like 50 times or something like that. So The fact that it's like 60 less and there's millions and millions more white people, it's just clearly there's obviously it's not equal. It's disproportionate, clearly, and there's it's beyond a problem. Something like that shouldn't get you killed. I believe it was just like a fraudulent check maybe or something like that, a check bounced. So it might not even been a fraudulent check. It might just, and especially even then, like your knee is on the neck of a guy for a fraudulent check. Like, really, dude? Are you fucking kidding me? Like that's what you die for. There's no way you could have talked it out. And then I think surveillance footage of the before, I guess, the viral footage. There's like a surveillance video outside the store where this might have happened. But it doesn't seem like there's any real right way to. There's obviously no way you could justify that in any circumstance. And this has been going on for far too long, obviously, and there's gotta be something done. And even just saying this, obviously, it's come almost like saying it to the wind. Because it's like you could have said this in 2016 or 2015. You know what I mean? So that was just one of the there's a bunch of things that I want to touch on, but that was obviously like a big story and something you can't just let pass by, and it's been going on for far too long, and I don't know what the answer really is. There's no real, who's the one to make like not like a coalition, but who's the one to formulate a solution, or I guess like an answer, and to make sure that this stuff just never happens again. Like this shit should not be happening like this. This doesn't happen. I don't see this happening. You know what I mean? And I know Steven Jackson there, the former NBA player. He said he knew him very well. Obviously, grew up with him in Houston, I believe. And they called each other like twin. And he said that George Floyd was just going out to Minneapolis to change his life, and like interstate trucking and like the trucking business, and had just sent him like a bunch of clothes, I think, and like he posted a bunch of selfies that George was apparently taking, and I can't imagine the pain that family must be going through, and that's beyond devastating. And there's got to be there's got to be an answer after this. There's got to be something. There's got to be a solution. There's got to be something, And those cops should definitely be charged with murder, At least the one with his knee on his neck should be. That's disgusting behavior, especially by someone who's supposed to protect and serve. It's just terrible. He's I don't know, but I just want to touch on that a little bit, kind of give my thoughts on it, because it's hard not to. Like I said, it's at this point.